So in this video, we'll be actually talking about a very simple concept, which is of resultant force. So what is a resultant force? We understand that if we have any object, right, and we apply a force to on that object, right? So for example, we apply a force of 10 newtons on the object in the rightward direction. So it will cause the object to move with an equivalent effect of 10 newtons, right? So it will cause an acceleration which is dependent upon that 10 newton force. But if we apply another force, because in our daily life or in practical life, it is pretty much probable that there could be multiple forces acting on an object. So, for example, an object is under influence of two forces, and the second force is of 9 newtons, and it is acting in the opposite direction to that 10 newton force. So we understand that now the overall effect of forces on this object will not be the same because there is another force, so we need to take that into account as well. So 10 Newton force is acting in the rightward direction, and 9 Newton force is acting in the backward direction or the leftward direction. So we understand by the concept of vectors, since forces are vector quantities, that the direction is going to play an important role in the overall effect of the forces. So we need to see if the 10 Newton force is larger, then we need to subtract the 9 Newton force from it in order to get the resultant force, because it is acting in the opposite direction. So we need to have opposite sign with the 9 Newton force. So plus 10 minus 9. We are associating the rightward direction, the plus sign, and the leftward, force, the negative sign, because it is in the opposite direction. So 10 minus 9 would be 1 Newton. So the overall effect of this, of the forces on this object would be 1 Newton towards right side, right? In another case, when we have another object, right, and we see the forces acting on this object, for example 10 newton acting on the rightward direction, and another, for example 9 newton force acting in the same direction as the 10 newton force, then since both of the forces are acting in the rightward direction and we associated the positive sign to be with the rightward direction, then in that case both of the forces will have positive signs and they are going to add up. So 10 plus 9 is going to be 19 newtons, right? So 19 Newton is going to be the overall effect of the forces on this object. So you can just see that by just reversing the direction of one of the forces, it created a significant difference in the overall effect. So this overall effect that we got by summation of the forces is called the resultant of the forces, right? Resultant simply means the overall effect or the net effect of the forces, right? So in our daily life scenario, we might not observe only one force that is acting on an object, but we can see more than one or multiple forces acting on an object. In that case, we need to find the overall net effect of the forces, since these are vector quantities and directions are going to play an important role. So we need to add or subtract the forces depending upon their direction, and then find the resultant or net effect of the forces in order to conclude the overall effect of the forces on that object.